Do you have a musical family?
Yes, my father sang opera, but he was also a plumbing contractor.
Singing plumber.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And all of my sisters play, and my brother plays. He plays trombone. He's also a band director who left not because he was not successful. He was in North Carolina. They froze a teacher salary, and
Ah,
somebody said, "Oh, take the civil service exam. You'll pick up a job." Well, he did. He's an air traffic. He was an air traffic controller in the
okay.
air center in Memphis, Tennessee, and made probably 5 times more than what a school teacher would make.
Hmm.
But then, when his kids were in band, he helped the band
Still a
director.
musician.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's playing in a community band now
Okay.
in Memphis,
Okay.
Germantown actually, right outside of Memphis. He
And was
plays
your
trombone.
was your dad did he ever sing professionally or
Yeah,
just
he sang opera.
okay?
There was an opera company. I don't know if it was the Tampa Opera or the Florida Opera that was housed right here in Tampa before World War II, and Daddy sang with them.
Okay.
And once World War II happened, he got a job with the Tampa Shipbuilding, and it didn't allow him to
Right.
take off and go sing.
But still, it was some music was very much part of
Yeah,
your.
and then after that, after all of that, he became the church choir director. He was
Oh,
one of the first choir directors at New Hope when it was back the old Brandon Methodist Church.
right. Oh,
And my oldest sister played the organ there.
okay.
And
And then your other sister was an oboe player.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's an oboe player. And my sister Dottie got a degree in church music and plays the organ. And she has done that. And then she went into technology, which is amazing to me because I'm not technically advanced.
So you kind of had a
And
nice distribution of things.
yeah, we all
Kind
had
of.
to study piano.
Oh, okay. Well, that was actually one of the questions I wanted you. Why? Well, first, why did you choose French horn?
I didn't.
Okay.
Ed James did, my band director.
Okay.
I did not want to be in the band. I thought about it, you know. What I knew you were going to ask that question. I thought about why did I choose French horn, and I know I didn't choose it. And then I remembered my sister Dottie was in the band, and it was summer school, and she said she's got to be in the band. All she's going to do is play all summer. So Mama took me down there by the nape of my neck, and he was sitting there. They had already left the beginning band. He was having his lunch in the cafeteria, and he was sitting there eating a dill pickle. I'll never forget it. My first glimpse of him, and I thought, wow, he likes dill pickles too, you know? It made me feel very comfortable. And he looked at me and he said, you look like a horn player. You're going to play French horn.
Okay.
And I didn't know what French horn was.
And how old were you at this point?
Like 12.
Okay.
I was 12,
Yeah.
and not interested in doing anything. I didn't even want to play piano at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to read and play,
Mm-hmm.
outside.
Just have fun with
Have
it.
fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that next day I went in the band room and all the French horns had been given out, but they had an E flat upright mellophone or something like that. I don't know. I don't think they even make them anymore. And he had me start on that. It's the same mouthpiece, same fingerings.
Yeah.
And I found I could play the scale before the rest of them.
Your
And
piano training helped you
yeah,
hear it. So
yeah.
yeah.
And so all of a sudden a French horn became available. I think he borrowed it from another school, and that was it. I started playing.
Started playing. And what was the band program like at Brandon when you were there?
It was being built.
Okay.
Ed was building it. And I call him Ed now because we were colleagues later.
Right.
He became music supervisor and actually helped me get the job at Brandon.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a picture from 1966, the Brandon High School band, which I think your sister was in the band,
Yeah.
your oboe playing sister.
Yeah.
And the thing that I noticed about the picture, it looked like there were 85, 90 people in the picture. But the picture was perfect. And everybody was seated with discipline, and the hats were around,
Oh, yeah.
and I mean everything. And while that doesn't mean the band sounded good, my guess is it probably did sound pretty good, because if you have that kind of discipline,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
He was a taskmaster.
yeah,
And I don't recall him yelling a lot. I mean, he would, but I don't recall it. And people will say, "Oh, he threw this at me," and he didn't do any of that.
yeah.
He was a gentleman.
But he had
And
high expectations, so
yeah,
yeah.
and if he wanted to call a kid a name, he usually said, "You knucklehead."
Yeah.
Nobody knew what a knucklehead was, but that's okay. And yes, we learned discipline. We learned that we didn't play with gum, and we always had our feet flat on the floor.
Okay.
And if he thought you had potential, he got in touch with your parents and said they need to study privately, which is what happened to me. And same thing happened to my sister Barbara. She had to study oboe. And
Who did you study with?
I studied with Helfrich, was his last name. What's his first name? Never thought I'd forget it, because we played in the symphony together later.
In the Florida Gulf Coast Symphony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was so funny because I got the job as an intern when I was at Florida State. And they said, "You will not have a job. You cannot have a job when you practice teach." Well, one of their horn players either quit or was hurt or I don't know what happened to him. But they called Florida State and said, "Do you have anybody that could play?" And they recommended me and a couple of graduates that were in the area. And we auditioned, and I got the spot.
Yeah. And that was, I mean, in a way, that playing in the orchestra was, every piece you played prepared you for what you were about to do.
And when I was at Brevard Music Center, oh my goodness.
Right.
We played, I guess it was, I don't know how many weeks I was there. It was all summer, June and July, and some in August. And I lucked out again. The fourth horn player had an accident on the way there for the faculty symphony, the big symphony.
Mm-hmm.
And broke both his legs. So they auditioned all the horn players in the camp. And I got it because I was a counselor.
Right.
And so I auditioned too, and I got the position. And I played more orchestra music there than I have since, probably.
And I remember you telling me that Ron Lemon was principal horn when you were there. And he was, at the time, I looked him up, and at the time he was principal in the Navy Band in Washington, D.C., and then later became principal horn in the New Orleans Philharmonic. Yeah.
He never dropped a note.
Right.
I mean, he was just on the money
which
every
set a
time.
standard for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One that I don't know I've ever achieved, but I'll still try.
That brings me to something else I want to say. And the first time you and I met, I was in 8th grade. I was at McLean Junior High School, and Vince Aguero was the band director, and Vince told all the horns, which we had like 8.
Yeah.
He said that you'd be coming in to play with us. We had an after-school band rehearsal. I didn't know you. I knew who you were, but I didn't know you personally. And you walked in. You had been teaching at Brandon, and you drove over, and you came in right at the beginning of our rehearsal. And you sat down next to me and said hello, and then boom, we started playing. And for me, what was so amazing, I'd never heard a really good horn player before at that point. And first of all, you were sight reading the music, and you didn't make any mistakes. And I was thinking, how in the world can she play this music she's never seen before and not mess up? Because that's the whole basis of being in junior high school. You mess up.
Yeah.
So that I remember so well. And that put in my ear, I need to probably work a little harder. And that was a great experience. And then after that, I started studying with you, and it helped me immensely.